Welcome back to Sika and welcome back to this week's news show brought to you by our Black Friday sale, which will be out on Friday. It's our only sale of the year. It'll be starting 9 a.m. GMT, 9 a.m. Irish time, 9 a.m. Sika time on Friday, and there will be 20% off all programs. Only sale of the year, site-wide sale. These hoodies will also be going on sale. They are, of course, limited availability. They're lovely hoodies, as you can see. I've been wearing it all weekend because it's covered in a little bit of baby sick, and that's how you know I've been wearing something. So let's start with this week's news show. We're starting off with our favourite unknown Russian lifter, Frozen Soul himself. He just literally put this up in his story. He just did a 215 kilo snatch balance, and I'm going to say it's perfect.
It is insane.
It's perfect.
Yeah?
He's got such a nice anatomical position for his elbows. Everything just lines up super nicely.
He's very nicely built for weightlifting. You know.
215.
Kablamo. So good.
It's incredible.
So good. Usually with the super heavily weighted snatch balances, you see people kind of folding over as they're standing up. You know, they might get under it and lock it out really nicely, but then as they stand up, they'll have that kind of overextension in the mid back. None of that happening there.
I'm gonna say you can only do super heavy world records plus snatch. Like the old super heavy world record was like 214. If you do beyond that in snatch balance, you can only do that on a heap of gear. I just don't think anyone can do that. There's no
very controversial.
There's no super heavy out there who's like Natty. He's 180 of mess, you know. He's 180 of tiramisu, like just mushy, like he's just messy, you know. Who'll just bang out a 220 snatch balance. No. I don't think that exists.
No, because it's that kind of hard, powerful. There's no just like fat slab. Super heavy.
No.
Because you can see them getting through really heavy cleans. Mm-hmm. And even like heavy snatches, you can see like just the sheer weight pulling them through, you know?
Yeah.
In that of the snatch balance that doesn't translate.
They can only do that 215 and above, which now is not. There's just only the only world you can do that.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Thank God.
Speaking of not messy supers, but doing stuff with probably Schnazdal, Lasha is showing us what shape he's in for the Worlds in a couple of days in Colombia. So he did a 212 kilo snatch. So you got here 212, looking like close to his limits right now, I would say, looking at the snatch.
Looking good though.
No, well, it's a 212 and it's Lasha lifting it, so of course it looks good. But I feel like it's like he's not a 225er right now.
No. I definitely don't think so. I also don't think that would be the best plan for him right now.
No.
You know, nice conservative 212 kilo snatches.
Mm-hmm. As you do, like.
Yeah. He seems to be just a tad more knees out at the end of the first pull than he usually is in his snatch on these.
So I wonder, is that as a result of a lot of the rehab and a lot of compensation, trying to maintain a better position of the injury? So obviously, you know, he got injured a couple of months ago. We saw that quad injury, and then we saw him kind of reduce a little bit of his form. And he, you know, when you get back to these heavy weights, it's not just a case of within 3 months you get back to 225. You got to get back to a place where you're healthy again. So however long that takes, then you got to a position where you build back up in the weights. And, you know, obviously that takes a very long time just in terms of a training block. You know, he's 90%, just takes longer to get to, literally in terms of like his session, the weights, and then across a kind of like a training block. It's just going to take a little bit more time for him to get back there. Not even including the psychological kind of pressure it has to lift those weights again without fear of injuring himself.
One thing I do like to see is there's none of the step forward. Do you want some of the heavier snatches in training last year?
Yes.
He had that bit of a step forward on a few of his snatches. That doesn't seem to be happening now.
I wonder, was that a precursor to injury?
Maybe one. Maybe.
Now, here's a man who's not injured, 250 kilo clean and jerk. Let me just refresh that. So 250. I like how he's low to 250.
Yes.
I like the little colours, you know.
Playful.
Yeah, a playful 250. So
it's so nice.
This looks the same as ever. It's funny because when you hear Gabriel talk about his split jerk, he's like, still some problems on the split jerk. And he can say that.
He can say that.
I wonder, is it just an illusion thing, though, with Lasha?
Like, he's so tall.
He's just so long. Like, we don't normally see people jerk those weights. But then we saw Misha Koklayev jerking 270 faster with long arms as well, you know?
Yeah.
It is.
No, there's definitely a timing thing between the pushing and the jumping and the pushing, as they'd say. But his clean is just so nice.
I don't rate the clean. See, we've been over this.
Don't you?
No, it's because you see yourself in the clean, you know. And I'll buy the 100 kilos less, but still in the clean, you know. I don't see it.
Yes.
I'm not in. I'm not.
I do. I can't lie. I like the clean.
No, Lash's aesthetics and clean and jerk don't do it for me.
His aesthetics in the snatch should surely do it for you.
Absolutely. I appreciate how the clean and jerks are. I appreciate what weights they are, but I just don't. It's not like when you look at Ailey do it, or speaking of Gabriel, or things like that, you know. Frozen Soul. When Frozen Soul does a clean jerk, I love those. But I not.
But it says a lot about Lasha as a super heavy.
Yeah.
That it's even coming up in conversation that you might appreciate the technique of a super heavy.
We normally aren't.
He's unique in that way.
Yeah, the 250. I would say he'll just win worlds and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see any big
I'd say you could see him win worlds on his opening clean and jerk or second attempt on a clean and jerk and then walk away.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, to save it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a 325 kilo squat. So I think the heaviest we've ever seen from him is 325. It might have been 320 for reps. So we've had 325 here. Again, so he's like loaded these and they load his training squats by the looks of things as like maximum speed, and they're like, okay, Lasha, you need to clean and jerk 260 and comp is like 325, and there's no point that's going beyond that. It's just fortunate for Lasha that is probably 80%.
Yeah. The one thing that scares me about this squat is the 1 arm bail.
Oh,
did you see it?
I didn't actually take any notice.
If you watch it on the 325 here, so fast. He rides that speed into the bottom very, very well.
Aggressively.
Yeah. The advantage of being a massive human as well.
Absolutely.
But you'll see this.
Why don't you like the 1 arm bail? You're afraid something might go.
Oh, it's just.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, no.
Especially when you have someone.
I like the double arm bail, you know?
Yeah. He's a precious commodity, I suppose.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, you should be minding him. He already had 1 injury this year. I'd love to know what to do with the kinesio tape. It's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve of mine.
No.
What are you doing with KT tape?
Interesting use of KT tape in lymph draining.
I've heard of that, yeah.
So to reduce swelling, very interesting. But
weightlifters have just taken KT tape and ran with it because they're so sore all the time.
All the time.
And I'm not going to lie, ex-Soviet countries are fuckers for it.
Especially around the knees, the shoulders, and the lower back.
Yeah.
Lads, a bit of stretchy tape ain't going to help anything.
No. So like, what... I just like, I suppose if it becomes a psychological thing, okay, eventually you kind of have to keep wearing it, but you shouldn't have let it get to that stage.
Yeah. No, it's a crutch.
No, it's definitely useful in scenarios where it's like rugby players need to tape their ankle, or a jiu-jitsu athlete needs to tape their ankle, or something like that, where you're like, okay, really, really, really bad if I hit flexion here, you know, or a certain limit of flexion. But
100%.
Why has Lasha got this on both his legs?
Yeah. It's like wearing knee sleeves without the knee sleeve.
Yeah.
But it's the level of... So the elastic in KT tape is so weak. Mm-hmm. Like, you can tear it with your hands, you know. Like, it gives... The only thing KT tape really offers you is kinesthetic feedback.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called KT tape. Kinesthetic tape. It's not going to help your knees, like...
No, and maybe they're like, look, Lash had a slight imbalance, right? And he was squatting to one side. Maybe that was it. Maybe. But I don't think Dr. Georgie's main doctoring job is KT tape, if you know what I mean. It's steroids. Okay, so Windsor 102, probably one of my favourite Russian lifters. He competed as a 89, but I think he's actually moved up to 102 now, because he said Windsor 102, sorry. We got a bit of a slip there. So 215 kilo rack jerk from the power jerk.
It's my second favourite power jerk in the world.
Oh, who's your first?
Apti.
Oh, that's fair. I think Apti's kind of a squat jerker. I know he doesn't go parallel, but
yeah,
it's an ageless argument, I suppose.
The speed is just insane.
Yeah, for 215.
Like,
from racks as well, walked it out fully raw and walked it out. Like, I love how he loaded 215. Like,
just raw dogged it straight out.
It's such a respectful loading of 215.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, all of his lifts are technically very nice. He's great positions. He's such an ectomorph. He's super skinny, isn't that it?
I
think it's
I don't buy into those.
Yeah, I think they're gone. But I suppose
thank God.
He's a skinny boy, to be fair. But at 215, I love his power jerks.
He's so long and thin.
Yeah, shouldn't be lifting 215 like that. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Well, he might never get a chance really again in any competition, but maybe in some local Russian competition. Someone did comment actually in a video a few weeks ago when we talked about what are the Russian lifters training for, and they're just training big time for local Russian competitions, and they're still getting paid and stuff like that. So
that's good.
Fair enough. Well, is it?
Well,
speaking of Russian lifters, so Igor Klimanov's coach, so you had a video of him doing 180 recently, and then he's put up this 190.
out of nowhere.
And you, like we just said, like you can't buy this technique anymore. You can't
No.
get this anymore. In 1999, that was the last year you could get that technique, that model.
Yeah. They actually stopped making it after that.
Yeah.
The emissions were too high on that technique.
So fast.
It's insane.
I'd love to know what weight he is. Can't be more than 100 kilos.
No, he looks very well put together.
He's just... It's almost casual, isn't it?
It's perfect.
People are watching, but
It is perfect.
No one's super enthused about it. No one's like...
They're also tired.
I didn't know the Russians get that tired.
I don't know. Think about the neural fatigue from all the gear as well. You know?
Yeah, I
It's
suppose.
no joke.
No, that's no joke. But
That amount
190
of brain rot is significant.
I love... Yeah, they can't hear. In their mind, they're clapping, but nothing's happening. That 190, the loading though, I love those mini 10s. I wish I'd 6
do you
of those.
like those?
I wish I'd more of those.
I don't like them, Garth, as
I'm
much, to be honest.
so lazy.
Um,
So lazy with the loading, as we've all
what I
seen.
really like about this is having seen the 180 last week, and there's no drop off in form.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, he smashes this one harder, or he stays at the top and pulls harder, or
Yeah.
drops down into the bottom and his ass. There's none of that, you know.
No, but that is this and as well.
He just
Yeah. Super consistent.
hope we see a 200 next week.
So we've... Imagine. Oh,
Yeah.
I'd be all over that. So then we've Kadamar. So he's a South American lifter, and he's still an 89 from what I know, squatting 300 kilos. He's known to be an absolute horse. And I'm going to say, in terms of aesthetics, I think he's beat Archim Antropov 301 simply because he did bury this.
No, it's
He buried it.
aggressive too, isn't it?
So aggressive. That upper back position is incredible. Yeah.
Like that barbell is behind the level of his heels on the wheel.
It's rare to see someone drop down a weight class and still thrive. So
Yes.
he was a 96
Okay.
at the Olympics. Now he's back to 89 for the Olympic class. Yeah.
It's a lovely looking squat.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Incredible. There's nothing to say about this other than that it's incredible.
No, it's very, very nice. I like that bail of the squat.
Yeah, the two-hander.
Yeah.
Not the safe one.
That's uber safe.
Yeah.
Assuming there's nothing on the ground behind you.
I don't like anyone getting spotted, well, unless it's metal plates. But if it's bumper plates and you're under the age of 45,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or if you've lifted weights for more than 6 months.
Yeah.
I really don't like people spotting, particularly weightlifters. Whatever about powerlifters, if they're quite restrictive or restricted,
Yeah.
and they're like lent over, then you need a spot, you know. But
Yeah.
really don't like weightlifters or athletes if they're high bar squatting being spotted.
And I think it's easy to get into the kind of psychological dependency of someone spotting you. I think it's easy to happen and you get used to it and you're like,
Yeah.
all my max attempts I have my coach spotting me, you know.
Yeah.
But
No, I don't like it.
gotta stay out of that.
Yeah.
Right, speaking of people spotting people on exercise, Brumby's Rugby here, right? So they're doing some reactive strength training drills. Someone sent us to us and asked us, could we make a little comment on this? Now, what they're going for here is like sport specific scrum training with some neck training thrown in here. And
I don't know what player this is. I think it's one of their front row. So the initial exercise, right, banded on the head, so it's a neck focused back extension hold, very, very good. As an isometric piece, very, very good. Isometrics with the reactive elements became popular in like the 90s, I'd say. You'd see some of the stuff coming into it. So sudden dynamic loading coming on you while you're in an isometric hold.
Jesus.
Not so popular anymore. You'll see some of the kind of fringe elements of S&C, fringe elements of S&C and rehab. I won't name anyone, but you'll see some kind of guru types do a lot of this kind of stuff where they'll have someone in like a quarter squat hold and then they'll throw a ball at them or something and they'll have to catch it. Now, there's times where the reactive stuff in an isometric hold can be valuable if it's like, if I tear all the ligaments in the lateral ankle, right, the outside of my ankle, all the ligaments are gone. I've now gone through my rehab process and I've re-knitted all those ligaments, right, or tendons or whatever it is, and now I'm relearning the proprioceptive feedback I'm getting from my ankle. Doing something like standing on a wobble board or standing on an uneven surface and me feeling my way through that kind of a range of positions that an unstable surface will give can be valuable, right? If I'm in like a quarter squat standing on one leg, then it's a bit more valuable again. It's something like this. But in this case, when it's super aggressive and you're kind of pulling from side to side, like a lot of what you're seeing here has nothing to do with the neck or nothing to do with the upper back. You'll just see his calves and his hamstrings are kind of tensing up and really aggressively pulling as the coach pulls from one side to the other. So maybe if it is in a injury rehab point of view, maybe they're testing him, maybe they're seeing what's going on. But in terms of using this as a physiological training tool, it's probably not the most efficient use of your time.
Like a more efficient use of your time would just be weighted back extensions on the machine they're using,
Yeah.
and then some deadlifts would probably be it, and that's not to be like fucking old school brother.
No,
that's
it's
not
just...
that's not that is. But in terms of actual productive training, that would be the scenario. Isometrics were funny because when they originally kind of became very popular, especially in kind of the not early 1900s, but kind of the mid 1900s, they were kind of seen as maybe the next big thing in strength training, but they never really manifested. So they definitely have their uses, mostly in rehab scenarios, but for actual strength training, it's force production, moving through some kind of range of motion is all the way, baby.
Particularly strength training in this caliber of athlete.
Absolutely.
Like a big, powerful, strong person.
Yeah. Do you like the jersey?
I like the Brumbies jerseys generally, but I don't like this one.
It's hard to tell with rugby because everyone's in such good shape.
Yeah.
That when you put on that kind of jersey, it's hard to tell, is it the jersey nice or are they just in good shape,
Like there's a rugby league team called the Rabbitaz.
Yes.
And they have a big rabbit as their logo. Mm-hmm. And that rabbit looks aggressive and forthcoming when you have a massive fella wearing it.
The Australian team have a First Nations jersey and it looks class. I really don't get it, but it's like €70. All jerseys are.
Yeah. One thing I will say about the Brumbies is when I was in my second last year of playing rugby,
mm-hmm.
I got the Brumbies off-season strength and conditioning program, and that was a great program.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody I knew was over there on like a player placement thing, and he sent it back. Around 10 of us used it, and it was very, very good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe times have changed since. Now, speaking of lifting a weight through a range of motion, we've Hafthor Bjornsson, also known as the Mountain from Game of Thrones. He was actually the second Mountain. He wasn't in the very first season. Bet you didn't know that.
No way.
No. Yeah, I bet you got kerfuffled there. But
is that in your fan fiction? Did you write that in the forum?
In my pub quiz, it will
yeah,
be.
Yeah.
The 360 kilo squats. So Hafthor has mentioned he's coming back to powerlifting. So 360. Like, is it?
No, I think it's legit.
You think it's legit? It's not. I don't think it's not legit. Okay, I just wonder. It's so hard when you go from like a 300 kilo squat there from Kadamar, and I know this is impressive, and he's super tall, but it's just hard for some of me to be like, he didn't squat all the way down. That's so hard. My brain says that,
I know.
My brain is like, he didn't squat all the way down, and there's no reason to think that because it's powerlifting he's doing. Why would he squat all the way down? Like when my athletes, I know it's different, but like, is it?
It's difficult for you. Like I know,
and it's 360 with collars in the bar. How's that possible? And there's no 2.5. It's all wrong, Dara. Like, it's all wrong. It's 25 kilo bars.
It's not even the same barbell.
Who is he? Like, who is this man? No, this 360 kilo squat obviously by Hafthor is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to see what he does in terms of powerlifting because he's so much lighter now. He's obviously not at 200 kilos anymore.
I'd also really like to see if he goes back to a full powerlifting meet, or if he'll do like push and pull, or if he'll do just like one-off exhibition meets, versus going to like IPF World.
Yes, yeah. Well, he's not going to IPF World.
Well, like he could pass the rugby.
Sure, couldn't everyone like? But there's a 190 kilo bench press as well, so it's interesting to see his bench isn't blown up as much, And I wonder how much benching he did when he was a strongman, or is this a result of just that body weight thing? Because the body weight actually makes a huge difference to bench pressing, and it'd be interesting to see. So here's a 190 with elbow sleeves. Don't know if they make much difference really. Very slow.
I'd be interested as well to see the amount of maintenance work he did while training for boxing in the squat versus in the bench press.
Probably, yes.
It's very unlikely he did a lot of upper body maintenance work. Like a lot of it was probably just general movement stuff for boxing, whereas he was probably still squatting once or twice a week.
Yeah, and deadlifting as well.
Yeah.
So 360 for a double. Nice normal deadlift. Like not as
like
sumo deadlift.
He's lifting that deadlift higher than the height of most weightlifters. Like not their deadlift height, the actual height of them.
Now moving on, we have Luke Richardson, pro strongman as well, squatting 275 for sets of 7. No, he's burying these,
Yes.
and I can't. It's so funny how fast these are. It's almost comical.
They're just insane. They remind me of watching the videos of the throwers when we were doing the videos on the throwers.
Yeah.
Incredibly impressive, like really aggressive up towards the top. And you can't be that aggressive with a safety bar.
Yeah.
Like a safety bar doesn't have the same dynamism that a normal barbell will. So it's difficult to appear as though you're being aggressive towards the top. The other thing I love about these is that when you're that big and strong, you can just round your back when you sit in the bottom of a squat. It doesn't even matter.
It's also wrong though is that he's in sevens because who does sevens?
No, they're obviously supposed to be eights and he just stopped.
Yeah, or sixes needed an extra. Probably sixes did extra.
Yeah, because nobody programs a 7.
But he's using sevens in his deadlift as well, you know.
No way.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a problem with counting.
I don't know. Sevens.
So hard to know. 7s.
I don't even think sevens actually work for strength training. I think they're actually...
I didn't think it was possible to do them.
It's a black hole. So when you go, like two magnets, like a north and the same ends of a magnet, same poles of magnets. Maybe that's it, yeah. I don't... We're actually not seeing 7 reps here.
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
You can do all of those rep ranges. You can do 8s, 10s, 12s and 15s. All perfectly sane.
Yeah.
A
Obviously,
7.
don't forget 9 as well. You can't do 9s either.
No, 9.
Well, you
can
can do 9s when you fail a set of 10. You can do the 9 when that 10 didn't go right.
Yeah, like you can do a legit set that's a set of 9, but it was a set of 10 that didn't go right.
Yeah, you're aiming for the 10.
Yeah, or you lost count.
Now, lastly, we've got the 1998 Beast doing a 68-inch standing box jump. What the fuck? He's not even wearing shoes.
What's 68 inches in real unit? What's that?
Very high, I'd say. Very high.
It's
68 inches.
Insane.
It's like jumping has to be fast, right? Obviously. But it's so fast.
No, it's so fast. The way I think about box jumps when they're going for max height like this is the more someone looks like they're just floating in midair, the higher the box jump is going to be.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you see people and they just like pull their legs up really fast, a big, fast, aggressive jump. But when they're these and you're like, oh, he floats and flies in the air for a little while, then you know it's tall.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about box jumps is that at a certain stage you've got to lift those legs up for mobility, you know, but he's getting so high up.
Oh yeah, he's just not jumping tucking, like he's just jumping.
Yeah, like the height he got in the backflip there.
Yeah.
Or X out or whatever they call it.
Insane.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's news show, this week's news show. Watch out for the Black Friday sale, 9 a.m. It'll be starting site-wide sale on all the programs, and these hoodies will be released, and they're very comfy.
Also, we only have 2 boxes of these hoodies, so you do have to get those quite early.